In the name of Lord Jesus, we continue study the book of Genesis. Today is Friday, so the first week of NYTS will be just finished very soon. So hopefully through this week you have learned a lot, and you also make your determination and your resolution what you are going to change after this event, so we can continue to grow in the Lord, to prepare ourselves to become the one whom the Lord loved. So our faith can just continue and follow the footsteps of the forefathers to keep the faith and also love the Lord always and follow what the Lord said to us. Yesterday we mentioned about the virtue of Sarah because his life ended. And now this is something to survive the husband Abraham and the son Isaac needed to consider about how to bury her. Right? So they are sojourners in the land. They're moving to place, and it seems like in Hebron, because in chapter 26 or 23, this is a praise. Sarah, she just finished his journey, and that praise where he ended life, the praise. If you look at verse 19, 26, verse 19, then you know she died in Hebron. And if you still remember the meaning of Hebron, Shibolun, anyone remember? Hebron is communication, 交通, communication. So she passed away in that place, and Hebron become just like a base of Abraham, and later Isaac also, and then Jacob. He will also return to this place. So this burial site become just like their home base, even though they are a sojourners, right? But there's a place they always consider. I can recall many things, just like your hometown. Today, where is our home? Our home is in heaven. Many of you are descendants or immigrant. Your forefathers immigrant from other country and then live here. And it could be also relocate. Just like as a preacher, we move around every 6 years, relocate to another city. So it is very difficult to call a place your hometown, because after a while, then you have to move to a new place, and then you needed to settle a routine, a new routine. But no matter where we move, then we build altar, right? Just like what Abraham and Isaac they have done. Build altar, call on the name of the Lord, and then we put God first. And if we are doing anything, no matter what kind of work, we rely on the Lord, put God first, and then this is a new style. No matter where we go, we do the same thing. Okay, so this is a place. Now, Abraham needed to bury Sarah, so he purchased this land. Even though God promised to him, this is the land belong to you and your descendants. But God's timing is not yet up, right? So he needed to face the reality, pay the price and get the permission to do something of his own. If he just moved around just for the grass and move to another place, it's okay. But if we want to claim this place belong to him, and also he can do something, especially to bury the dead, it's different. So you see the in the chapter, then you know Abraham he didn't just take advantage of others, even though to some people Abraham become very unique, right? They even offer to Abraham. If we look at verse 6, 23 verse 6. Let's read verse 4 to 6. Verse 4 to 6. Verse 4 to 6. Okay. I'm a stranger and sojourner with you. Give me a possession of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. And the children of the Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him, Hear us, my Lord, you are a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our spectator, bury your dead. None of us shall withhold from you this speculated, but that you may bury your dead. People respect Abraham a lot, but then Abraham he refused to take this so-called free gift. He wanted to purchase it through the formal legal process, so he can claim this is my ground, so I can bury my dead. So this is how Abraham becomes so careful to interact with the residents there, right? So I believe this is also an example for King David later in Chronicles, Second Chronicle, when David he wanted to build a temple. God asked him to build an altar. He also purchased the land. Someone also give him free, want to just freely give him the place, but David said, no, I have to buy it. And then I build the altar and we offer sacrifice to the Lord. He is not going to use others' free gift to do his own things. The mindset is actually from Abraham. Abraham refused the offer of king of Sodom, remember, in chapter 14? Abraham said, I cannot let any chance that people can claim, say, I make Abraham rich, right? Because everything he have received, for sure, come from the Lord, not from man. So he doesn't want to have anything free from others. He rather to receive the blessing from above. This is more important. Okay, so this is also out of the faith, because he believed God will bless him. Okay, so and then in verse 14, verse 14 and 15, how much is the cost to buy the burial place? But verse 15, right? 400 shekels of silver. How much? 400 shekels of silver. How many pounds? Anyone? What is the weight? 400 shekels of silver. Anyone? In verse 15 is in the slide. I just want to check with you whether you have this kind of understanding now. How many grand or how many is 1 shekel? Then 400 shekels is what is how much? 400舍客勒是多重 ？Anyone has idea? One shekel is about 11.5 gram. 11.5 gram, 11.5克 Then 400. So how many? 12.5 pounds. About 5 kilogram. 大概5公斤的价值. It is a big actually. It is a big. So in your Bible, you have to make a note how many gram is 1 shekel, so you know the value. Okay, so is in the Bible you always see that some unique is very different from ours. Then you have to make your own note. Then you know you have idea about the amount, right, the value. The owner actually say a big amount. 400 shekel of silver is a very expensive. But anyway, Abraham paid for it. You can compare about this value in that time and from the Bible cross-reference, then you know it is a very big amount. But no matter what, Abraham just accept. He didn't negotiate, say bargain, say, oh, too expensive. How about 80% off or some discount? No, whatever people said, he accept, and this is the deal. Okay, so eventually now Abraham has a place to bury Sarah, and this place later become the 3-generation burial site. Sarah, she is the first in chapter 23, verse 19, was buried there. And then Abraham in 25, verse 9, now it's a turn for Abraham. Finish his journey and then rest at the same place. Then the next is Isaac. Isaac also buried at that place. Then Rebecca. And Leah also. And then at the end, Jacob also was buried in that same place. So this become a very important site of Israel. So when Jacob, he went down to Egypt, he just considered, he wants Joseph to make sure his body will be buried back in that place. Because he considered this is my place supposed to be rested, and this is a promise of the Lord. Okay, so this is the I think the process. We don't need to go in details because we are short of the time. Let's consider one more important thing. At this moment, Abraham, his main deeds are almost finished, because once Sarah passed away, and then in chapter 24, this is about the marriage of Isaac. Because now wife passed away, if the son, the only son, got married, then that means Abraham's responsibility just finished. So then his life is almost ended, because what he's supposed to do complete. So that's why in chapter 25, then we see Abraham. He ended, even though The first mention about he married another woman from his another family, but those children be called the children of the Keturah, not the children of Abraham in the Bible perspective. So then he finished. So from the whole life of Abraham, we see how many times God appeared to him. And this is also a process how God trained Abraham. Eventually, he became the father of faith through God's continuing communicate with him and then giving instruction, or also make covenant with him to comfort him, to strengthen him. So this is the if we just check the Bible, then you know every time when God appeared to him through different way, sometimes in vision, right? And or God directly talk to him and then give him the instruction what to do. So first, in Acts 7 verse 2, calling out of Ur. Okay, so this is the beginning. God show him his glory and then call him out. You needed to depart from your hometown, your family, your father. Then they stop in Haran, chapter 12, verse 1. So in that place, chapter 12, verse 1, when he depart from Haran at age of 75, God called him out, continue to Canaan. Right? So we don't know when Abraham was called out of Ur, but we know when he lived in Haran after his father passed away, and then God called him out of Haran to Canaan. At that time, he was 75 years old. Okay, so make it clear, from 75 years old, God want him move to Canaan. Okay, and then he finished his whole life at age of 175. Okay, so that means he lived in Canaan, in this promised land, 100 years. 100 years. Okay. Okay. So then in Canaan, chapter 12, God appeared to him in Shechem, right? Because when he arrived there, he found out many people already live in this land. He now is a stranger. He is a sojourner. He is a stranger. He's not a one can claim say this is my land. No, right? But he continued to follow the Lord. So the first time after Lot separate from him, in chapter 13, God also appeared to Abraham. Arise and walk through the land, right? And this land I will give it to you and your descendants. And then in chapter 15, after he defeated 4 kings, God said to him, do not be afraid. I am your shield, and I will be your great, exceeding great reward. Right? Then, chapter 16, and we know Abraham, he made a mistake. Right? And through that incident, God kept silence to him for 13 years. So at the age of 99, chapter 17, verse 1, God spoke to Abraham again. And then there, God made covenant with him. And then he received the circumcision. And this is the evidence of finishing the covenant. And this is the sign on his body. So this is through God's appearing, God talked to him. And then in chapter 18, God visited Abraham and Sarah with purpose to deliver the message about the son is coming next year. So in chapter 18, actually, this is a special trip for God to deliver the message of bearing a child to Sarah directly, because this is the chapter God directly mentioned it, and Sarah, she heard what God said. Right? So God visited them as their guest with the two angels. And then in chapter 21, God appeared to Abraham how to deal with Hagar and Ishmael, because this is the time the only promised son can live in the house. So this is in 21, right? And then chapter 22. Now this is a test. God talked to Abraham, offer his beloved son Isaac. And then in this chapter, God second time talked to him after he finished the test, passed. And then God promised to him. And the final is in verse 15. God reaffirmed the promise. And this time, Isaac, he witnessed and he heard what the Lord said. So you see how God make these things happen. So not only about him, but also his wife, and then his son, his only son. They in person heard what God promised to Abraham, and then they know what's God's plan and about descendants, about the land, the promised land. And it changed the whole life of Abraham and his descendants. Because later we see how Isaac, he becomes so obedient to the Lord. Okay, so this is the end of Abraham's life. Now let's move on to about Isaac. Isaac is the son of promise, right? And his main story is in chapter 24 to 27. So hopefully today we can study Isaac. And then the first big event for Isaac is about his marriage. Okay, so let's just overview quickly about chapter 24. So after mother passed away and also finished the, we call it the funeral, the last things of the death. So make the mother, Sarah, rest. And then now Abraham considered about his son's marriage. When Sarah passed away at 127, that means Isaac, he was 37 years old. 37, right? 37. And Isaac, he got married at age of 40. So there are 3 years period. So eventually, the father, Abraham, he considered, he said, Abraham was old. So he considered now the son must have a family. Okay, so it's mentioned about how Abraham eventually he arranged this marriage for Isaac, and this has become a very typical, important lesson we have to learn when we face our future marriage. From this passage, then we know we have to keep God's promise, because whatever God promised, it will be true. And also, we need to rely on God's guidance. When we say we trust God, means we will follow what we're supposed to do with faith. So you cannot just rely on your own judgment. If you look at chapter 24, then you see so wonderful And then Isaac and Rebekah, they even not see each other before the marriage. But they have this faith to say yes. Can you imagine? This whole full event happened. Let's move on. This is a long chapter. And you consider why about this marriage of Isaac becomes so long and some section repeated. Right? This old sermon, he report what happened, details, just almost identical to the family of Rebecca. To repeat it, and that's why it make it lengthy in the chapter, but it carried the meaning. We have to understand. First, Abraham's comment to the old sermon for finding a wife for Isaac. Isaac at this time, Isaac already 40 years old, consider. But the father take this responsibility about his. So he was old, but he considered I needed to show concern and then make effort to Isaac's marriage. So verse 1 to 9, and this is the how the old sermon mean entrusted for this task. Then from 10 to 14, the old sermon he take his responsibility and set the journey. So very clear, the journey is going to find the future wife of Isaac. Only one purpose. So it's not about to view the on the way for enjoy the journey. No, only one purpose, to find the wife of Isaac and then return. The guidance of the Lord on the way. Right? What happened? We consider it's all because of the Lord's guidance. And the sermon recounted God's help to Laban, the family of Rebekah, and then Rebekah's answer and decision. And so, regarding the marriage, it's all about the decision with faith. No matter is Rebekah or her family, now they needed to make decision right there. But we see how God guide them, and everything becomes so smoothly. All right, so verse 1. Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and the Lord has blessed Abraham in all things. In all things. And now, in verse 2, Abraham said to his oldest servant of his house that ruled over all that he had, "Put, I pray you, your hand under my thigh." So this is the very formal, as the old servant. He's just basically like a steward, a manager of his house, and has been with Abraham for long, and witness how the Lord grant this precious son to the family, right? And also witness how little Isaac grew up until now, good for marriage. And now Abraham wants this old sermon. You basically just like you say oath me. So 3 requirements. Verse 3, not select Isaac's wife from among the Canaanite women. No Canaanite woman, right? This first. Verse 4, choose Isaac's wife from among Abraham's relatives. So you have to go back to my hometown and then find a suitable lady or the girl for Isaac. you find someone there. So to him, where his family live, right? Only know in that direction, but probably he never been there before, right? Because it is almost 70 or 80 years ago. But this is what the master want. So the sermon needs to follow anyway. Right? Number 3, verse 6. Verse 6. Not take Isaac back to Abraham's former land. So you go, but you cannot take my son along. Isaac must remain in Canaan. Okay? So no matter what, you cannot just bring him and then let him to choose. He is not going to leave the promised land. So this is just bottom line. Bottom line. Okay? So even though in verse 8, if the girl doesn't want to come, you cannot take my son there. So it is very, very firm for Abraham. Never let my son depart from the promised land. So can you imagine, in this age, Abraham was in old age, right? In old. And if we count, then Abraham was 140 years old, 140 years old. So he considered, maybe I have not many years to live. My son must have his own family. So these 3 criteria, to us, this is also we need to understand. Your spouse will decide what kind of life you will have. Okay. Second, the spouse must have with you have the same faith. Same faith. It is very important. Number 3, you never depart from this house of God. Never. Right? You always need to remain in this promised land. So to us, that means we must remain in TJC. You cannot just go outside to find someone. All right, so let's consider marriage. Marriage is a big matter to you. In Chinese saying, 人生大事，婚姻是人生大事。多大的事 ？How big? The big will define your future. Whether you will continue on the journey to worship God, or you could easily, totally get lost and become a captive of the world, just like Lot. Right? When Lot, he departed from Abraham, he indulged his life and worldly pleasure in city of Sodom. Even though he gained a lot of wealth, he also earned the status in the city. But eventually, we know his ending in chapter 19, right? So your marriage will decide whether your direction of life and your value system, because both can influence to each other. It's about the whole lifelong matter. But if you choose a right spouse, then your life will be blessed greatly. Not only you, but also your descendants. A child marriage is a major event for parents also. To parents also a big event. It marks the lifting of their parental responsibility. So once children got married, then parents free. Just like if my daughter got married and then I have free from her. I don't need to worry about her life because her husband will take care of her. So no longer under the responsibility of father, right? So this is a time for parents to cast off all of the responsibility because the children already have their own family, their own spouse, right? So if child not married yet, no matter how old the child is, parents always carry the responsibility and always worry about their well-being. Like a mother always concerned about son and daughter, no matter how old they are. Okay, so you get married, then you free your parents. So if you just say, "Oh, I want to be single," and then yes, you indulge your freedom, your life, your own, but do you consider about the responsibility of your parents, right? If because parents cannot accompany you for long. Once they depart, if they pass away, and they were always concerned about my child, my son, my daughter. So don't be so selfish about yourself only, okay? Because if parents begot the children, the pattern is the children must have someone to form their own family, and then their life will be anew. So parents can be free from this responsibility. After they're getting older, they have no way to. They are not strong anymore. That's like in their young age. Okay, so consider it. So this is about marriage. Parents, a big event. Number 3, marriage is also a great matter to the church. 婚姻是教会的大事，不是你两个人的事。Okay? Because wedding ceremony is the sacred work of the church. So that's why the wedding must be handled by church council. The way how this whole process can be scheduled, it is the matter of church. It's not about your own family business. No, it's about the church. So when believers enjoy a happy marriage, the church is also blessed. If members' family has many issues, then the church have no capacity to preach. And you have to deal with all of the family issues, marriage crisis. And then the worker becomes so exhausted. But on the other hand, if all the couple, they have a happy marriage, right, blessed family, the church will be prosperous. Because the family, all together, the children, they have a friend in the church. Everything becomes so wonderful, just like on the earth as in heaven. Okay? So this is about marriage. You have to understand, very, very important to the individual, to the parents, and also to the church. So pray for it and set your mind right according to the Bible. So a wife for Isaac, one wife, okay, one wife. Why Abraham, he insisted, now the old sermon, you need to go to my hometown, find a girl from my relatives, not from Canaan. What's the reason? God promised to Abraham, no, the land is going to be your inheritance for generation to come, right? So Abraham believed this land belonged to my descendants. So to Abraham, he has only one son, Isaac. If the son his wife have different faith with him, from him, then it's a big problem, right? So he want to make sure the wife of Isaac have the same faith, worship the same God with him together, because two are better than one. At this moment, Abraham, he remained single because wife passed away. And he knows how important to have a spouse, right? Because once you have a spouse, then you always have helper. Anything issue, you can just communicate and discuss. Two are better than one. So Abraham experienced how wonderful his wife Sarah was. He wanted his son Isaac also have a blessed family from a wife first, same faith. Otherwise, all the covenant could be just gone. Second, Abraham lived in Canaan for almost 7 decades. He knew very well about the lifestyle of the Canaanites, right? And then he also witnessed how they worship idols. But Abraham, he built altar. He called upon this true God, because this God loved him so much. Many times appear to him, give him direction, protect him, right? Praise him, everything. But compared with the Canaanites, idol worshippers, so how can his future daughter-in-law be someone worship idols, follow the custom of the Canaanites? It's not going to happen. He makes sure, no, never, right? So that's why he sent this old sermon. You have to go over there. No matter what, the Lord will guide you anyway. Bring one wife back for my son. It's a commandment. And we see how God really praised the old sermon on the way. And then we'll continue. Let's say silent prayer and take a break first. Pray in silence.